I think it's safe to say that the era of punchers has finally come to an end. After a year of COVID-19, it's clear that the small rooms have given way to more diverse skill sets, and this has pushed some old styles out and brought some new styles in. Of course, where small room battles are, battle rappers with a pen are soon to follow, and as such, we've seen lyricists take over. JC recovered well from the scar that Loso left on his career, Chilla Jones' impressive return deserves a video of its own, and Real Sick had a year. This video, though, is the first of a three-part series that I'll be doing that's going to focus on three lyricists who have made waves recently: Loaded Lux, Daylight, and the topic of this video, B-Dot.
Hey, this is the West. Hey, look, hold on, last bar. This is the West. We started gangster rap. I'm gonna need our thanks for that. Yeah, I know the East started battle rap, cool, we not claiming that. But if URL is about gang banging, slinging, cracking, banging straps with him, bitch, LA is where it should be stationed at.
B-Dot is a California MC who heavily specializes in lyricism and angling. The name of the game for him is using his signature flow to weave together witty schemes and angle his opponent out of the fight. Let's start by talking about that flow. I've heard a lot of comparisons to Loaded Lux regarding how B-Dot flows through his rounds, and honestly I don't see it. I'm of the opinion that if you really examine his battles, it's clear that B-Dot doesn't have the vast skill set that's required to pull off Beloved's cadence and tempo manipulation. And while that sounds like an insult, it actually makes way for B-Dot to develop his own qualities outside of the comparisons. See, a smaller repertoire of flows makes for a more controlled and dense attack. This has resulted in B-Dot's flow being his best asset. It's nowhere near as ever-changing or diverse as Lux's, but it's specially crafted and allows him to deliver his schemes almost perfectly. When it comes to flow, I think B-Dot is one of the most functionally gifted rappers in his class. Great rappers understand that tempo control can be used to put emphasis on heavier bars and deliver quick jabs. Dot's understanding of this concept is the crux of his rapping ability. He specializes in using speed-ups and slowdowns to add nuance to his deliveries. When he speeds up, a lot of the times he can give his bars a backhanded connotation, which helps contribute to disrespecting his opponents. When he slows down, it creates his signature towering condescension that frames his opponent as ignorant and lost. He's also adept at inserting short pauses that function to keep crowds on their toes, and these really spice up his performances. Small abrupt pauses give people a break to digest what's been said. Now just look at how many times he switches speed here and pauses to enhance his delivery.
Right, but tonight I'm restoring the pride, cause that European religion got you niggas caught in the hype. They gave you a book of stories about men of glory and you bought this shit, right? Well, why is there no female deity supporting your Christ? You know, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. You may not hear it, but your daughters just might. Oh, nigga,
We've no doubt seen people like Showtime SP describe Loaded Lux's style as building the house. In this way, I think B-Dot is a lot like Lux, except much more efficient, especially during times where he ventures into the fast rapping territory. Where he lacks Lux's cadence and tempo control, his bar structure and setup ability are a well-oiled machine. This makes Dot's attacks faster than Lux's, or at least faster when Lux doesn't have a gray hoodie on. Let's talk about rhyme scheme. I think that rhyming as an important skill flies under the radar in the culture, mostly because people don't seem to recognize its function. See, battle rap works in peaks and valleys, and during the time where a person is just rapping, a listener can feel that they're in the valley of a round. Lux can be vulnerable at times like this, like during the Hollow battle where the crowd grew fatigued with what seemed like aimless rambling.
They sat you down, gave you time to think, prison confined bunker, because you won't take more money from rap, but you'll stand on a block with a...
Rhymes function as peaks in between punchlines, and good use of internal rhymes can entrance a crowd in your bars and give them the spice that makes them hit that much harder. Lux compensated for this by using his unique cadence and ability to control the flow of his round on the fly. B-Dot instead compensates for this by using internal rhyme schemes. I think he's a visionary when it comes to stringing together his angles with internals as to not lose the crowd. This aspect is supported by his flow. The controlled and compact tempos in his round give way to versatile internal rhyme schemes, and really allow him to exert force with his pen. Internals also function to catch the ear, and B-Dot is great at using internal rhymes to put emphasis on important parts of his bars. Look at how he's able to create constant peaks to fire off this very effective angle.
We'll get it off at the break of dawn. That's when your brain get washed. That's what we came here for? Now you niggas switching the ways? Well, I'm still NWA. I'm sure y'all remember them days. Imagine if Easy Dre or Ren would have said this LA shit ain't getting us paid. We need to switch up and change. No, instead they paved the way and created lanes for all the shit that we say. Ain't nothing different today. Ain't nothing different.
I think Dot is comparable to people like Briz in these ways. Briz is an expert at using flow and rhyme scheme to keep momentum. But where Briz's technique is much simpler and brute force, B-Dot uses rhyme with surgeon-like precision to elongate schemes. His third against Danny Myers is regarded as one of his best rounds, but I don't think people notice that almost every rhyme scheme in that round is connected through internal rhymes. This helps him keep the crowd's attention and contributes to the streak of haymakers that Dot throws that round. All things considered, his style is better than Lux's in some ways. Again, by having more controlled and compact flows, he ironically gives himself more room to insert angles and abuse his penmanship. Let's move on to talking about that penmanship while we're at it. This is a huge part of what makes B-Dot so effective. With around 23 battles under his belt and a URL career that's only recently been consistent, Dot already has an insane grasp of wordplay. In fact, part of what makes his rhyme scheme usage so effective is that he's so good at wordplay. He can rhyme the same word multiple times effectively, and this is at its pinnacle when he ties this ability into his angling. Look at one of his best known moments. What makes this line so effective is the parallel he draws to his opponent using wordplay. It's not just an angle here, it's the fact that he's so good at flipping words, he can augment the angle.
Came to the Americas, killed the indigenous people and brought in slaves, stole my culture, and gave me that Bible in exchange. How we both praying to Jesus? I'm praying for change, you praying for change. Our gods are not the same. Hold up. That's right, Strick. You're not to blame.
He's also very proficient at scheming, and like his wordplay, B-Dot hides these inside of angles to devastating effect. By doing this, he makes the best use of schemes out of anybody in the league. I don't want to spoil future content too much, but one of the problems I have with Daylight is that while his schemes are unethically quick, they can come off as indirect and aimless at times. And while Loaded Lux's schemes can be incredibly effective, they aren't as frequent as they could be. B-Dot makes almost perfect use of schemes though. By using them to enhance his angles, he both gives them a direct aim and fires them off in rapid succession. This equips him with firepower that a lot of his opponents struggle to keep up with. Just look at how fast he shoots off this scheme in the middle of an angle.
Is this some ego thing? Cause y'all dealing with a nigga with clout? Cause I led the league with the greatest reception without a pass from y'all cause I stuck to my routes?
I want to move on to angling, because while lyricism is Dot's biggest strength, angling is his main weapon, and he's probably the most unique angler currently rapping. See, the biggest problem with using angles as a main weapon is that one angle can win or lose you a round, and many rappers tend to spend their whole round focusing on one. For example, T-Top, one of the best anglers to rap, used the Walmart scheme to clear out Rum Nitty in the third round. On the other side of the coin, many would say that Loaded Lux lost the third round to Averb due to an angle that was not as effective as he thought it would be. In these ways, angling is sort of an all or nothing tactic. Because B-Dot has potentially the highest vision in the league, he sidestepped this problem by throwing angles at his opponent at high frequency. He's kind of like what would happen if Av were an angling specialist instead of a puncher. And again, this all rolls back into the traits I mentioned earlier. His rapid machine-like flow facilitates high-frequency angling and allows him to splice schemes in between. I'd be remiss to not mention comparisons to Geechee Gotti though. I think one weakness of B-Dot is that while he throws angles at his opponent at breakneck pace, a lot of them tend to come under a similar vein. In the same way Geechee is guaranteed to talk about street tragedies, B-Dot is almost guaranteed to talk about problems in the black community. Now don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad thing, but it does present some angles for his opponents to exploit. We've all seen the perspectives that people have taken against Loaded Lux for the preacher persona, but I think Dot has a high enough battle rap IQ to sidestep these problems, and he's shown some flickers of freestyle rebuttaling skill, so it's not impossible for him to combat these vulnerabilities. Aside from B-Dot's long list of talents, I do think he's lacking in some categories. He's not that much of a puncher despite being very witty, And despite being compared to Lux, I don't think B-Dot has developed the knack for performance that Beloved has. I'll put it this way, B-Dot often uses hand motions to enhance his bars, and this aspect of his performance gives him a slight edge. Lux, though, is a savant, dynamically navigating stages, conducting antics, and hypnotizing crowds.
Send mine like telepathy. Send mine like telepathy.
Wait.
I will say that one thing B-Dot does have over Lux is aggression. Don't get me wrong, he's no Shotgun Suge or New Jersey Twerk. No, instead, B-Dot sorta has this unique brand of aggression. Like Twerk, his tall frame makes him feel physically imposing over a lot of his opponents, and like Lux, the subject matter of his bars give him a lot more substance than people he's up against. As a result, B-Dot has the advantage of talking down to his opponent's ignorance, and when this is in full swing, it can really look like he's talking to their soul, to use Angry Fan terms. In terms of where I view B-Dot in the overall battle rap hierarchy, I could easily see him being top tier if he isn't already. He's gone through bouts with the best of them, grabbing wins against people like Rem Nitty and T-Top, so he's clearly strong enough to fight with the big dogs. Despite all these strengths, I do think B-Dot has bad matchups though. Battle Rap Stats has him 5-3 since 2018, and it seems like Dot struggles against opponents who can play his game at or above his level. People like Chilla Jones who can compete with him on a lyrical level, or the Saga who can match with him on subject matter give B-Dot a hard time. That being said, I don't think he would fare well against people like Loaded Lux, Daylight, or Hollow to Dawn, people who outclass him lyrically. But to be honest, those are good names to be chasing, so I think he's in a very good place right now, and with the time he has to improve, the sky is the limit for B-Dot.